who are manning this body, it is almost difficult to have them come out publicly to make pronouncement. I think the last time we got a better or something that anybody can tag to be better pronouncement from NJC was in 2021, when some of the court conflict came out. The then CJN, being the chairman of the NJC, came out and made certain sanctions, which is ordinarily expected of.
All right, Mr. Choko, we have the Commissioner for Information with us here in the studio. We'll quickly go over to the Commissioner.
Now.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, we have the Commissioner for Information here with us. We have the Commissioner for Information. Let's quickly get over to him. Perhaps it's going to, some of the things he would say, I would also need you to address. Honorable Commissioner, thank you for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew, and good morning to Rivers people.
All right, we have a short commercial coming. So my very first question to you would have a lot to do with, the judgment we got yesterday, the late hours of yesterday towards the evenings, stopping allocations coming to Rivers State from a high court in Abuja. I know I'd spoken to you sometime where you were trying to give insight about the process of that judgment and trying to see that how we appealed not appeal at the time, look into what was the case that was presented and say, okay, we need to join this and that, and you questioned how the process worked. If you can bring us back and tell us exactly leading up to now that we got the judgment, when you first got served and the questions and how the whole process went, what happened with that particular process?
Well, if we are talking about Justice Abdul Malik's case, that matter was on the 25th of October, and it had what I would describe as a hasty hearing, because it spent close to 8 hours on that day, and all the attempts by our defense counsel to try to get the sequence right, all the attempts were rebuffed. We tried to change our lawyer. They refused. We wanted the councils to be a joinder, because they are actually the parties. If you talk about Rivers State, is built on 23 local governments. That's what makes Rivers State so. And they refused. And then we also challenged territorial jurisdiction, because there's a federal high court here. And this matter is Port Harcourt matter, or Rivers State matter as it were. And by jurisdiction, by territorial jurisdiction, federal high courts in Rivers State ought to be the appropriate place to try. And all the attempts, particularly by Femi Falana, at some point he had to even write to the chief judge of the federal high court to insist that the presiding judge accuses herself. But it was rebuffed, and then in fact she embargoed that one and went ahead to do what she did yesterday.
All right. The lawyer with us would also speak on this, but now that it is what it is, what actions is the Rivers State government taking?
It's a legal matter. The court of first instances, the High Court, where the matter was adjudicated upon yesterday, and the next step is to go on appeal, and we have already gone on appeal.
Some people say with this judgment there should be worries and concerns. In fact, following the worries and concerns, the questions on whether the state government would be able to meet up with payment of the new minimum wage, which is 85,000 naira from November, looking at what this is. We don't want to preempt the court, but I also heard in an excerpt where you said, well, if the Court of Appeal also opposes judgment, it might have some level of influences and effect on the state. But is it possible for the state government to still meet up its requirements with infrastructural development, allocation to monies for development at the rural areas, etc., regardless of the judgment?
It will be. I will not be able to put a finger on it, because it is the governor that will say. He knows the capacity, his financial capacity. But if we say we're not jaundiced by this judgment, then we're being unfair to ourselves. Every right-thinking Rivers person should be worried that a group of human beings who call themselves Rivers people will go to the extent of denying the state the allocation that is due it. It's not as if there is a war between Rivers State and the federal government. No. Some group of people whose cases are even before higher courts are in contention with their status as membership of the assembly. I would have expected that this judge should have allowed the full hog, let the matters before the Supreme Court and even the Court of Appeal be the determinant. The Court of Appeal, as it were, that they hinge their judgment on, It's not the final cut.
All right, let's take a very short commercial. When we come back, we'll get more from you and the response of the lawyer to these situations in the courts. Stay with us. (29:08). My name is Ifeemi Andrew. The Honorable Commissioner for Information, Mr. Joe Johnson, is still with us in the studio. Chioma Choko, legal practitioner here in the state, is also with us. Mr. Choko, I'm sure you can hear us.
No problem. No problem. I can hear you.
All right. Fantastic. We'll get your response to a few things, but I'll come back to the Commissioner to conclude on what he was saying before we went on the commercial. You had said, well, there were issues with regards to the process, and you had concerns about how the speedy hearing that the matters got and all of that. And today we have a judgment that had come. But what I would also want us to address is the same. The speed in which we have what we have now that led to this judgment. Are you concerned that the same speed has not been applied to addressing the case that the Okojumbo, Speaker Okojumbo are taking to court with regards to challenging Ameule and the other lawmakers who also are operating parallel assembly in Rivers State and are also within their rights leaning on certain court judgments that they have gotten from the judiciary to say, well, this house is the authentic house. So puts us in a state where we have two houses. And the last time the Okojumbo-led house had taken them to court to say these people can't be. I mean, they defected, and the whole story we have knowledge of. So, what's your take on the fact that we still haven't been able to get a definite resolve to that case in court up until now?
My appeal is that the speed with which Justice Abdul Malik exercised in passing this judgment should be applied to the matters before Court of Appeal that is challenging the authenticity of membership of Martin Amehule and his colleagues. If that speed is deployed, I'm sure that we would have been out of where we are now, because what the judgment is trying to legitimize is to say that Okojumbo is not, but Martin Amehule is the authentic. And this is a constitutional matter that hinges on Section 109 of our Constitution that clearly states that if you defect, that's a matter in contention before all the courts. So we'd want a pronouncement so that it will give a proper direction. But to say that they want the budget represented when there was a judgment of Justice Danagugu that recognized the Edison Eye's house until 13th or so in December when he resigned to become chief of staff thereafter. But he had already declared the seat vacant, and that matter had not been concluded. So one would expect that in being fair to Rivers people, in being fair to dealing with justice, one would expect that the judiciary should help the situation, because where they are going to is trying to use Rivers State as a trigger for anarchy. And we know the consequence of seizing an allocation that is due Rivers people as a right, as a sense of entitlement. Then out of 37 or 36 states, including Abuja, which is the 37th as it were, 36 will get, one will not get. You can imagine how the judiciary has been turned to be the buffer for them to destroy our democracy. But I pray that it never happens. Rivers people are watching, and Nigerians by extension are also seeing that this is a conspiracy of some, set of human beings who want to continually have their hands in the till of the state.
Some people say, well, your comments are kind of different from what the governor said. The governor sounded really confident and wasn't looking perturbed when he said what he said at the end of, because I remember the judgment came while the liberation service was on yesterday. And for some people, they say, oh, what you're saying now doesn't go with what the governor said. The governor did not sound as though this was going to be much of a problem. But then you're saying, well, the reality of this is that the governor
is the head of the government. He knows the size of his pocket. I'm looking from the human angle. When you get a monthly salary of 10,000 and they say they will no longer give it to you until something happens, perhaps you may have some reserves, to be able to buffer it. I know the case in Lagos when they seized the allocation for local governments.
At the time Tinubu
was governor in 2004. Supreme Court ruled that no tier has the right to seize the allocation of another tier. So that one is there. But it's not exactly the same year. You're seizing the entire allocation of a state, not just the one for local government alone, the entire allocation for the state. Tinubu could have been able to survive because he probably will be getting what is due Lagos State, less what goes to the local government. That was the contention. In this case, we have no contention. For any court to tell central bank not to release to us, it's like removing blood from a living being. And how do you intend to?
All right. So some people say, well, the state government did the same thing. I mean, there were many callers during the newspaper review segment of the show who said, well, the state government also owed the immediate past council chairman withheld their allocation for several months.
Is it men? Is it council chairman or councils? Because there was no complaint from the councils to the extent that their salaries, which is a major concern, or other things didn't come to them. So anybody who's, of course, people will naturally bring in sentiments into everything. But the most contending issue now is the stoppage of the allocation to the state, not just because of the local government, whereas I believe the anger is stemmed from the fact that they didn't succeed in stopping the local government election. They have also seen that exercise went seamlessly. Now they thought that the best they can do is to go back to the trenches and see what they can do to injure Rivers people. It is a war against Rivers people in this case, not just because it's the governor, but Rivers people are the people that are on trial now.
All right. We'll come to you, Mr. Choko. Honorable Commissioner will still respond to one more question from us, which would be how this would affect the projects that we have ongoing. Does it affect it anyway? Recently, we had the governor at the tourist beach. That's a project that is looking at revamping. We also have road projects ongoing. The governor has said he will pay contractors. But, Mr. Choko, quickly, from a legal perspective, you heard some of the things that the Honorable Commissioner has said about the judgments and the cases and the hearings and jurisdiction issues. What's your response? What would you say from a legal perspective? How are these things run in the court of law?
Okay, in the first place, I think I would say that it is a judgment of the court, whether rightly or wrongly given. It is a judgment that is binding on the parties that were brought before it. And once the judgment has been given, just like we all heard it yesterday, what is expected on the losing party or the opposing party is to go to the Court of Appeal. And just like he rightly proceeded, the right thing, which I believe they've done, because I listened to some of their broadcasts yesterday, was to immediately proceed to the Court of Appeal to suspend or put a stay in this.
Hello, Mr. Choko. Mr. Choko. Unfortunately, I think there's interferences with the network from your end. We can't really hear you as well as we would hope to. Let's come back to the Honorable Commissioner. We'll try to get back to you, Mr. Choko. Perhaps, hopefully, then it will be better. Honorable Commissioner, sir, so yes, the project's ongoing, and with this situation, should there be any concerns?
The governor has said, and I've also said in my speech, that there's no cause for panic. God is the one that has kept us thus far. Yesterday was our Liberation Day. Recall that on the 30th of October last year, we had a near fatality when some group of young men felt the best to do was to commence an impeachment proceeding against the state governor, yes. And yesterday also, which is to me a sad reminder, is another attempt that I believe is born out of greed and is selfish, is not going to help the state. And I believe that Rivers people will also continue to show solidarity to the governor, or with the governor, and expect that things will continue to move geometrically the way they are going. Right. Quite a lot of projects are on. And 2 days ago, the governor went to the tourist beach to see how to rev up activities there. We're also looking in the area of tourism,
All right. Some say the agreement, because the governor during his speech at the Liberation Service had also said, look, that 8 points was some sort of a coup or a plot by some people to see how they twist us. And when I realized what it was the reason I wasn't going to implement any further. Was that the case? Because the argument by some, Mr. Choko, we have you back on the line. Just stay with us. Some people would say that, well, the Martin Amewule group at the time withdrew their impeachment process and all of that, which was one of the things that they were supposed to do. So what was it that made it look like a coup that the governor realized?
What made it look like a coup was that the number one on that agenda, on that 8-point proclamation, was withdraw all court cases. That's number one. talking about number 1 out of 8, 1, 2, 3 to 8. Number 1 was withdraw. We came back and withdrew. They went ahead and ambushed us and got that judgment, which is the reference point. Because if you look at Justice Abdul Malik, that the trial judge was trying to firm up what Omotosho did in the same federal high court.
So you're saying the judgment from Malik was built on the cases that were supposed to be having withdrawn as at last year
beautiful.
When you had that agreement.
Which we have also appealed. When we withdrew, it meant that we lost our own defense. All that we had challenged, which included, territorial jurisdiction, because the federal high court, and we had other reliefs sought. But in the case that the president had intervened and asked that you withdraw, we withdrew everything. And thinking that they too will keep to that part of the bargain. They refused to keep to the part of the bargain and then went ahead, got judgment. Of course, we have appealed the matter. Court of Appeal is saying, since you withdrew, you have no locus to even contest whatever is there. The matter is before Supreme Court. So when Justice Abdul Malik passed the judgment of yesterday, she relied on the judgment of Omotosho. So you can see the relationship between it.
All right. Mr. Choko, we hope that the network can allow you just about maybe a few minutes to respond to some of the questions I asked you earlier with regards to the processes in court. So yes, let's hear you quickly. Hello, Mr. Choko.
Yes. I'm here, sir.
Go on.
I'm here. So sorry. People are calling. I'm so sorry. Take question, sir.
Yeah, so we're asking how the process is, how it works. The jurisdiction question is an issue. Well, if a court knows it can't entertain a matter, is there a jurisdiction issue that should warrant a court to say we can't entertain this matter even if we've seen it? Take it to the court that's of competent jurisdiction, or does the court go ahead and look at it regardless of whether it has jurisdiction or not? What are the rules around all of these things?
The law.
Mr. Choko, unfortunately, I think serious issues with the service on your end. Would have to go straight to the phone lines now. 0817-923-0007, 0817-923-0003, a number that you can call to join on the conversation. We asked you what you think as things are now, the state government funding the projects, and most importantly, the new minimum wage, which was just approved by the governor, 85,000 naira. Do we have the capacity? My guest has said the governor knows, and that is, he spoke from what he knew, and he has said no need to panic. My guest has also said no need to panic. Let's go to Gift in Genego. I will start from there. Straight to the point, please, and keep it very short. Good morning, Gift.
Good morning, Andrew Chioma, my brother, and good morning to the Commissioner for Information, Joe Johnson.
Morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Now, let me address the issue because of the time. I want to put it to him. Please, read that 8-point resolution. There was no place that they asked Martin Shike Amewile, the authentic speaker, to withdraw any matter from court. I stand to be corrected with all sense of responsibility. It was the withdrawal of impeachment notice. And let me put it to him now this morning so that we'll clear our doubts. There was no time anybody who is a defense will go and withdraw a matter in a court without the person who is the applicant withdrawing his case first. And I told them that there will be consequences for bad behavior. If you disobey the courts, you must pay for it, and the Constitution. So Justice Omotosho court judgment, I said that is the beginning and the ending of this whole matter. What they are doing, let me tell you, Andrew, if you may, and inform Nigerians, they are only looking for how to delay. These delay tactics, they will go and appeal the matter, they will not pursue that matter. So this cry about Abdul Malik coming up with this and that, she's too fast. And all the rest. It started since July 14th and 15th.
All right, Gift, let's go to Lugard. We don't have all the time. We're trying to manage it as much as we can. So quickly, Lugard, straight to the point.
Andrew, to you.
Yes.
I want to greet the Commissioner of Information. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my brother.
I also want to thank Rivers people for Thanksgiving yesterday. Yes. This is not all about Obara. this is all about River State, for one man or for one set of group, to stop River people from getting allocation that will develop River State. This is a fight for River people. And we are not going to fold our hands and watch this man who ruled River State for 8 good years, uninterrupted. And this is the way he did it to Dramatics time, 2015. And he's on it again. Then how? I want to call on River people. As long as the appeal has been, they have gone to appeal, we are not going to take it lost into our hands.
Unfortunately, Lugal, I think you're going to interrupt by your service provider. But we got your point already. Mufasa from NTA Road, quickly. Good morning.
Yeah, thank you very much. And good morning, Senator.
Good morning.
Yes, I want to first of all appreciate the commissioner for the good job that he's doing. I'm not yet to put anything to him because I know that at the level of the big park in Abuja, he was there live and direct at the presidential villa. I wasn't there. Even the person that was putting it to him was not also there. So having said that, I want to ask a very vital question because the issue about appeal and a stay. Now that judgment was given by Abdul Malik, does it immediately start operational? Like, because some people will say that the court has made a pronouncement and immediately it is believed that allocation stops immediately, even as far as the appeal has been applied upon. So is it that as we speak now, River State is not going to get any allocation for the federal government? That is one. Then my second question is this. I'm aware, so I saw it on social media that the Martins Amewule group, they are going back to court to withdraw the affidavit they deposed to or in court. Is it possible to, after you have found an affidavit, to go back and withdraw that affidavit from a court, knowing fully whether it will come against them because they are claimed that they've not defected? So these are the questions that have been clarification.
Let's go to Chima Iremokuta. I'm pretty sure the lawyer with us would respond to this particular one. And then, okay, Honorable Commissioner, you want to say something?
Yes, to my brother.
Chima, just hold on.
To my brother, Gift from Yanagua. Number one item on the 8-point proclamation was all matters in the courts be withdrawn. Number two is all impeachment proceedings, number 2, initiated against the governor by the River State Assembly should be dropped immediately. I don't have the time to reel out all of them, but just to tell him
the first two answers
to his question
directly. So let's go to Chima. Chima, quickly. Good morning.
All right, thank you very much. Honorable Commissioner, good morning.
Morning.
Now, I want to ask a question now. If you're still claiming that you were ambushed, if all matter will be withdrawn, the governor still recognize the Martins Amewule-led speaker as an authentic speaker? Did he at any point in time, after they have come back from the Abuja, and everybody should withdraw, did he recognize the Martins Amewule at any point in time? After that time, after the result of it, did he recognize him again?
Yes, he did.
Then number 2.
Yes, he did. At least when Martin Amewule screened the 8 returnee commissioners, which was part of what was in the proclamation, they were screened by Martin Amewule, and the governor honored them and reinstated them.
Then we had came where and Oketumbo came in.
Where they came in was when it became obvious that the faction couldn't work together. So the faction that believed that they were authentic continued. And the one that felt they were, whatever they would have called themselves, also continued. That's why you have the faction. That's why you hear Martin Amewule led and Okojumbo led. That tells you that there's a faction. And the matter is before the courts. Yes.
Chima, unfortunately, we can't give you the time to ask all the questions. We have other callers on standby. Still, we have to hear from Choko. We don't have a lot of time. So quickly, after Leighton Barry, Choko, we'll just get your response quickly, and then the commissioner will wrap up. Leighton Barry, quickly, good morning.
Good morning, Ifemi Andrew. Good morning to our commissioner.
Morning.
Good morning. Yes, Ifemi, I want to direct this to the legal team of Governor Sim Fubra, that they are responsible for whatever is happening to the governor, because they fail to have informed the governor properly. Okay, let me ask, since the appeal court gave judgment in favor of the Martins Amewule, has the governor been able to recognize the Martins Amewule-led House of Assembly? That's number 1. And before I go on, the governor needs to be very careful of his spending now as it stands, because he needs to focus his attention on human capacity development. There should be a low key on infrastructural development for now, since the financial situation is taking this shape.
All right, Litambari, unfortunately, we have to interrupt you there. We got your point. Mr. Choko, you have less than 2 minutes. Let's just get your response. I'm sure you heard some of the things raised.
Let me say that, just like the last speaker did say, I think it's an error on both the part of Martin Samewule's this thing, who were mischievous from the beginning. But unfortunately, the part of the governor or the pro-governor supporters didn't actually see this coming. Ordinarily, if from what the commissioner has said, which all of us are not, we are all aware of, that was actually the directive from the presidency. But if you look at it clearly, who went to court first? It was the Martin Samewule to secure his seat. Now, ordinarily, it wouldn't have been on the part of the governor to make an application before a court to withdraw his counter affidavit pending before a court of law. What was expected, and every right-thinking lawyer would have done, is to allow the person who went to court to file what is called notice of discontinuance, and not on the part of the governor, who came in as a defendant to first of all make an application, praying the court to withdraw all his application. And that is why I completely align with the last speaker, that completely and truly the lawyers who are handling the governor's cases are not doing perfectly well. With all due respect to them, I do not know them, so I have no particular person in mind. Now, if we talk about the withdrawal of the affidavit by Martin Samewule yesterday, see, those are evidences that are before the court. Whether or not they are withdrawn, what is significant is that they are still documents that are before the court. An application can be made by anybody to have a certified copy of those things and then present them anywhere. But the case here is that you have made an application to withdraw before Justice Omotosho, and the Court of Appeal in their wisdom has said there is nothing before us to honor whatever supplication or prayer or relief you are seeking before us. And that is where the governor has a key leg. Had it been that hasty application was not made, I do not think that Martin Samewule would have been raising his head from any quarter till today. But be that as it may, you see the judgment, unfortunately I don't have time, the judgment that was delivered yesterday, just like I rightly put it,
does it take effect immediately?
Hello?
Does it take effect immediately? That's a question that was asked. The judgment. Does it now mean
the judgment cannot take effect? It cannot take effect immediately. There is what is called appeal pending injunction. Appeal. Yes, injunction pending appeal. And I believe that as at yesterday, because it's not an executory order, what they would have filed as at that yesterday is that injunction pending appeal to restrain federal government from executing that particular judgment or giving effect to the decision of the Federal High Court. So it's an appealable opportunity for them. They have it ample. They have about 90 days. The window is open for them. So they can go ahead, that injunction pending appeal today, and nothing. Rivers State government, we have their funds completely sent to them by the federal government. Right. That's even if it has not been sent.
Unfortunately, we don't have all the time.
Will still be done.
We have less than 2 minutes left. Thank you, Chioma Choko, as a lawyer from Rivers State. Quickly, Honorable Commissioner, as we wrap up in less than 2 minutes.
I thank my brother Choko for what he has done. At least he's done part of what a learned luminary could do. I want to believe strongly that our appeal will survive. The appeal will survive on trial, because what happened yesterday, well, is a judgment, like you said, and every judgment is a judgment and must be respected. But strongly, there's no reason to panic.
All right, you heard that from the commissioner himself. No reason to panic. Several messages coming in on Facebook and on WhatsApp. This one says the governor is capable of managing the state with the IGRO. To stop federal allocation by any court is a tyranny. That's John sent in that message. Let's see this one on Facebook. Quite a number of them already. Thank God says those who claim to love the state are the ones destabilizing the state. Iyobu Kelvin says, morning, how would it look like since the FCC minister and Chief Tony Okocha and the Martin Samewule group had stopped the federal allocation and the governor said he would pay council workers through IGR? He now selects between what if he selects between simplified workers and those who are wikimatics? Well, I don't know how that will work. That would be a very tedious task for any accountant to accomplish. I don't know how that will work. Honorable Commissioner, again, we say thank you for joining us.
Thank you. And to those who are behind this plot, I'm sure they're attracting the wrath of God and then the hatred of Rivers people on themselves, because they are not just doing it for any other reason other than selfish reasons.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll continue to keep up with the developments as they unfold. My name is Ifeemi Andrew. Hello, Port Harcourt comes up shortly with Jude. Good morning.
You are tuned